Good morning and welcome. Happy Hump Day. I'm Joe Jaquin, CEO of the Patriot Trading Group, and I hope it finds you well out there. We had a few more, some sprinkles at least this morning. It's another great day out there. Happy to be here. Our toll-free number, 800-951-0592. The website at allamericangold.com, and make it part of your daily routine. There's so many great articles, videos to keep you informed, keep you knowing what you need to know. It's a lot of mainstream information, but with a lot more detail that you don't get. All the gaslighting and the cheerleading and all of that stuff. You won't find it there at allamericangold.com. Go check it out. I got to tell you, yesterday we had a mini flood in my office / studio. The air conditioner unit sprung a leak, for lack of a better term. We got it all repaired. It looks like it's holding up. So, but if I run out of here in the middle of the show, that's more than likely what happened. Right on my desk too, I had one of my favorite books, The Creature from Jekyll Island, sitting there. It took a hit anyway, but it'll recover. So just glad I was able to be here today. Wasn't sure, but shout out to the air conditioning company. They came out yesterday and got us all fixed up. While they were doing that, I went out, played around the golf, bowl. We had bowling league last night. Three games of bowling. I mean, again, I've been saying it for a long time. CBD game changer, especially really the ones that we sell, because it's the real stuff, and that's really what's most important. And I've given you my testimonial. I can't believe, listen, I'm a big guy. I'm trying to not be as big. I'm working on that one next. But CBD is allowing me to do so much more than I ever thought. Not amount of Advil taken. So I go out, I play 18 holes of golf. Then I go and I bowl three games in bowling. And listen, bowling's a little more physical than you think. I'm just saying. Especially when you got a knee that's in the shape mine's in. Amount of Advil taken, none. Zero, nada. Am I all sore and broken up today? No. I would say this was very mild. Back when I was like 30, if I did this, I feel like I did then. But this morning, I got an email, it wasn't an email, I'm sorry, a text from Glenn Tate. And a lot of you love Glenn, Prepping 2.0. If you've never checked out his programs, check him out. He's on the open forum on Friday afternoons, and then we run Prepping 2.0 on the weekends. And Glenn's had cancer. Anybody that's had cancer is going through chemo, you should be taking CBD. It helps recovery. It just really let's face it, chemo is not pleasant. It's not. But it makes it a lot more tolerable. And Glenn started using it because of that. And then he texted me this morning. I have another CBD testimonial for you. I have an incision from a surgery. It's been irritated and mildly painful for months. And any of you, I had like my elbow surgery. I've had knee surgeries. Those scars, they get painful. And not, sometimes really painful, but mostly more like annoyingly painful. Just irritated. He said, yesterday, I put some CBD salve on the irritation, and it's gone down to almost nothing, and the pain is gone completely. And of course, he says, why didn't I do this earlier? Listen, it's just so many great things about CBD, especially with pain, inflammation, very helpful. A lot of our people that have arthritis, things of that nature, are saying how much it's helped them. Check it out, 1360 KHNC, hit the shop button. We have CBD products available in our Colorado office and our Arizona office as well. Things from hey, I don't sleep well at night, to anxiety, to pain, to all these things. I take it mostly. It just allows the body to heal itself. The best way I can describe it, it takes the inflammation away and lets the body do what God made it do, and that's heal you. Check it out. Plus, all the proceeds, as you guys know, the My Kind CBD, the number one supporter of KHNC, that gives you all those great programs. So just another reason to go check it out. When we get back, we had inflation data out. We've got gold up 20. We've got a bunch of gaslighting going on. The Senate last night passed the $3.5 trillion infrastructure bill. I'll tell you what that means. And then we had a bunch of, from Joe Manchin to Kristen Sinema, say, oh, I'm so worried, yet they voted for it. I'll tell you what all of that means. We got a great show lined up for you. Plus, more inflation talk. Who's right? Is it the central bank? Or is it the CEOs of all of these companies out there? By the way, Tyson Foods, he put a number on what he says inflation is for Tyson. I'll share all of that with you when we get back. 800-951-0592. I'm holding price on $20 gold pieces at that $19.95. But gold's up 20. I'm going to ignore it for the day. Tomorrow, prices are up. Already my costs are way up. Put them away. U.S. $20 gold pieces, $1,995, below $2,000. We just haven't seen that since COVID. So take the time. Keep adding to your portfolios. So today, we get the inflation number that the Federal Reserve gets to decide how it's calculated. And I'm not going to make a big deal. Listen, I had the idiot box on this morning, both Fox, CNBC, and finally you're hearing people say, well, the Fed's understating it. But they're not making a big deal about it. Because, well, they don't want to make a big deal about it. Because they know, listen, we got to pretend that it's transitory. But here's how the number came out today. The Labor Department releases the numbers. Of course, they're told by the Federal Reserve how to do the calculation. They said that the consumer price index rose 5.4%. Now, remember, we needed 2, right? Now, we've got this target. It's 2%. Now, they did say, it ran below 2% for a while, so if it goes a little higher, that's okay. All right. Well, a little higher, what, 2.2 or 2.3? I don't know, maybe 2.5? No, this is 5.5%. Think about this. Our money is worth 5.5% less than a year ago. Who did this? Well, they did. And you know what they're saying? It's okay. They said that the CPI increased 0.5% month over month. Of course, obviously, when you do it that way versus year over year, month over month, that's 6%. Right? Times it by 12. That'd be 6%. But, of course, remember now that they make excuses for themselves as why it is that they really don't believe in a sound dollar. Why it is, listen, they know the dollar is going to zero. They just, well, how long can we go? Because all fiat money goes to zero. And mostly because of garbage like this. Because we allow them to do this and get away with it. Right? Because they've got all the people in the debt market, they all drinking the Kool-Aid. Right? They're all drinking, because they have no choice. Listen, would they rather have the stock market at 10,000 or 35,000? Well, we'd rather have it at 35. Well, if you'd rather have it at 35, you got to drink the Kool-Aid. Okay, well, I'll drink it. Well, what happens if I keep drinking the Kool-Aid? Well, eventually the whole thing's going to blow up in your face. But, we can make it last a while. Then they said, but, that's headline inflation. And we just don't like headline inflation. Headline inflation, that number's higher. We want to find a lower number. So we created the so-called core inflation. Core inflation. Okay. Well, we are, human beings that we need, food and water and stuff like that to survive, right? To live. That's not core. Food, energy, that stuff goes up all the time. No, this core number, it only rose 0.3%. See, now, that sounds so much better, doesn't it? I mean, that way, now it's only up 3.6%. See? Look at, we just took inflation and almost cut it in half. And remember, last month it was way hotter than that. So, if you just use the core number, well, now it's only up 4.3% year over year. Wow. Man, isn't that great? Hey, we just lost 20% of our inflation with this core nonsense. And one of the things that's in the core, which I don't know why it would be, but it's in there, is used vehicle prices for cars. Now, I don't know about you guys, but my family, I've got me, my wife, my two boys. How often do we buy a car? Every 5 years? 10 years? Right? Not very often. And I will say this: my wife got a new car, but me and my boys, we all had used cars. So I guess we're in that market. But that was only up 0.2%. And of course, we know used car prices are up almost 50% year over year. But at least it slowed down. I will tell you though, listen, used car prices always fall in the summer. People go on vacation, car buying slows. I got a funny feeling that that's going to go back the other way, and I'll tell you why in a minute. They said that apparel prices were flat. Okay, so let's see. In the core CPI, there's two things in it that made a big deal: apparel and used car prices that are not core to our existence. I mean, I guess you can buy cheaper clothes, go to Goodwill, right? Ridiculous nonsense. But anyhow, the big lie in it all still has to go with the biggest factor in consumer price index, in the CPI, and the core CPI as well. Housing. Okay? Housing. According to the central bank, housing costs slowed significantly. In particular, rents. I can't make this up. Rents went down. Anybody out there rent a place lately? I just did. I can promise you, rents are not down, and they're not down anywhere. But according to the central bank, shelter, as they like to call it, which is really rent equivalent, which we don't know what it means, only is up 2.8%. And it's slowing, according to them. Now, that was out this morning. Okay. This morning on CNBC, big little breaking story. They are usually reserved for home buyers. But bidding wars are becoming more and more common in the rental home market. Demand for apartment and single-family rentals is surging. As the economy improves, they're saying that landlords are seeing more than a dozen applicants or more on properties, and renters are offering well above the asking rent. Have a buddy of mine just moved here from California. Been looking for a place to rent. Has an area where he wants to be. Puts his offer in. This was, and I didn't even talk about it, and it didn't even dawn on me. This was about 45 days ago. Puts in, hey, I want to rent the place. They run the credit. Oh, yeah, it's great. He gets a call from the leasing company this was a single family home, the company in charge of renting it. And they told him, hey, we got multiple offers. And kind of saying, like a half a dozen of them. Give us your best price. Give us what your best price is, and then we're going to decide. And he ended up paying almost $1,000 more than what they were asking for. True story. We've been leasing properties for almost 20 years. And we haven't seen an applicant pool this competitive since we started in the business. This was a guy from Iron Gate Development in Maryland. He says that we listed a home 2 weeks ago. 20 prospective tenants, 10 applicants, with far more than normal. Think about this. You go to rent a house, right? 10 other people got an application in. The rental application we're seeing right now, you're seeing higher credit scores. You're seeing applicants willing to put down more in terms of security deposit. You're seeing strong rental history as well. Because I'm one of those people. I've been renting since the last housing crash. We've got well over an 800 credit score. I can tell you how much more expensive the rental market and more competitive it's gone. They're talking about prices of units going up $300 and $400 a month just in the last 60 days. And yet somehow, this is good, right on CNBC, couldn't have been more than an hour after the CPI comes out. And they're saying rents are exploding. I mean, we know what new home prices are doing, right? We know what just drew a blank. Existing home sales are doing. We know median prices all-time highs. Listen, we got all-time record high prices for new homes, all-time record high prices for existing homes, all-time record high prices for rent. And they tell us it's slowed? Are you kidding me? But this is really the most important part of the CPI because it's such a big part of it. They calculate, 33% of the CPI is this rent equivalent number. People were saying, and this is not me, I don't know, but if they used actual factual data, they said that today's CPI number, which was 5.4%, would have been approaching 10. Core CPI, which they said it was only up 0.3 and 4.3 over year over year, would have been over 8. Could you imagine what really is happening? This is the problem. This is why this thing is going to be so much worse when it finally does crater. Because they won't even use the real numbers. Because here's the problem, right? I guess at 4.3% or 5.4%, they can say, well, it's going to slow down, don't worry, right? And they say that every month, and it doesn't slow down. But at 10%, right, they'd have to do something. And the longer they go without doing it, the worse it gets. When we get back, Tyson Foods, and all of you know Tyson, right there, chicken and all beef and all that. I want to tell you what he says inflation is. Then I want to tell you what one of my catering buddies told me yesterday. Yeah, we're going to taper sometime, maybe. We may raise interest rates in like 2023. Right, as this thing just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And I know you're right. Joe, gold fell $100 at one point on Monday. On a, whatever that was. Listen. Again, every one of these, big gold traders. And I don't know that it was a gold trader. Right? Was it J.P. Morgan? Was it somebody else? I don't know. I kind of more lean towards maybe the Chinese government just adding more gold to their holdings. I want to say that's what happened, but it doesn't matter. Because they're Kool-Aid drinkers. They just, core's only 4.3. Oh, well, how's it? Yeah, I know that number's fake, but so what? It's okay. Not okay. See, this is the problem, and too many of these people really they weren't old. Either they weren't old enough, or they weren't even alive during the 70s. And none of them are going to do any research. They're just lazy, totally lazy. This is exactly the same thing we had. The parallels are striking. Of what happened in the 70s. Remember the whole thing with Watergate and Nixon, kind of similar to the insurrection and the Trump thing, right? Kind of similar there. Weak president, right? Whether it was Ford, Carter, Jimmy Carter, right? The peanut farmer, who I didn't think we'd see a weaker president than him. Here we've got it today. Joe Biden, the weakest president you've ever seen. Don't think so? Look at Afghanistan, right? That thing's over right now. Where is he? He hasn't even said anything. Why? Because we don't want to talk about that. How about the border? I don't want to talk about that, right? And inflation doesn't say it. What? He hasn't said anything about anything. I don't even know where he is. We have Arthur Burns, who was the head of the central bank. Very weak central banker. Jay Powell, who I think, Jay Powell's not great. Janet Yellen and Ben Bernanke were worse, in my opinion, but he's compromised. Right? He's compromised. And they're all saying the exact same thing that was said in the 70s, and it's here. Don't believe it. Think I'm making it up. Maybe I'm exaggerating. I mean, it's possible. How about Tyson Foods? Their CEO on Monday said, we are struggling to raise prices fast enough to keep up with higher cost. In the last quarter alone, this is incredible. hiked its average price for pork by 39%. And they're telling us food inflation is 4/10. Right? You do that math. They're basically trying to tell us food inflation is just a tad under 4% below. That's crazy. Beef prices, this is just a quarter, 12%. Chicken prices, 16%. He said his company is grappling with higher raw material costs, global supply chain problems, a rebounded demand, wage and worker compensation inflation. We have seen accelerating and unprecedented inflation. Inflation is up 14% during our third quarter. Inflation is up 9% year to date. Well, the Fed just said, 5.4. And really, core's only 4.3. They both can't be true. And for a CEO to come out and say, this isn't inflation, this is unprecedented inflation. Saying that we can't raise prices fast enough. Shake Shack. I don't know if you got Shake Shacks in Colorado. We got a few here in Arizona. They're announcing they're raising the prices again. Now, Shake Shack hiked prices in December. And then it raised prices through delivery services this year by 5%. Then they raised prices by 10%. Then they came out and says that wage inflation in the second half will be in at least the high single digits. They said that prices and costs for all things restaurant continue to rise and will be raising prices yet again. So that's 4 price hikes from them. How about this one? Car parts continuing to accelerate. Higher costs for auto part prices that are going to raise. Listen to this. Prices have already increased 5 to 7%, and they say add another 5% by the end of the year. Who's saying that? Car parts CEO Lev Pecker, right? I mean, come on. That's kind of a interesting name. Anyhow, right? That's 10 to 12% inflation. Car part. So I've got a friend right here in the complex with me, where I take all of my cars to get work done. And I was talking to Shannon over there. She does all the ordering. Her husband is the guy that owns the place. He's the head mechanic. She does all the books for them. We talk about, we buy our rubber gloves for when Brittany and Arlene do all the junk silver rolls and all that stuff. A box of rubber gloves used to be $12. And by used to be, I'm talking way back in 2019, before COVID, $12. A box of gloves today, $40. $40. Oil. So they get these oil. Think about if you're like got a property without water and you got those big water tanks, those 300 gallons of water. They got something similar to that where their oil, gets in there. She said oil a gallon went up $3.50 just the last time they purchased it a gallon. She says it's incredible the amount of inflation in the auto parts side of things. Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back right after the break. 800-951-0592. Listen, last day, $20 Liberties, $19.95. add to your portfolios. You know what's happening. You're seeing it. You know, I've got a lot of business owners that are friends of mine. I talk about my favorite bar that I go to. Me and the owner Dave, we're buddies, and he's just so frustrated. He says that he's paying hourly more than he's ever paid and still not getting enough help. Still can't get applicants. Every time he orders, prices just keep going up. You know, remember I was showing the one I was telling you about the chicken wings. Cost a box of chicken wings double. I said, and I ask him every time, you know, because I see him every other week. Hey Dave, the chicken wings go down? Nope, haven't gone down. And he goes, here's the sad part. The sales guy, the last time he talked to him, said, hey, get ready, they're going to go up again. But beef has been on a big run. Pork's been on a big run. I bowl with a guy. He is a very successful caterer. You know, runs a catering business. A good friend of mine. So yesterday, you know, as we're bowling, I just said, Kevin, how's cost going? And he just goes, it's ridiculous now. Every time I order. And he goes, the problem is you don't know what it's going to be next. So he gave me the example from, it just had happened to him that he was reordering. He buys cheese, okay, in these 5-pound bags. You know, so for, you know, the pre shredded cheese, 5-pound bag. He goes, they were $11. Because I ordered it, came in today, $14.50. That's a 30% increase. And that's just one item. And he says the problem is every time I order, it's another item. And he goes, and it's not, you know, they're not up 4 or 5%. He says that doesn't exist. He says, she goes, sometimes I'm seeing a price on something, you know, like napkins or the silverware, that prepackaged silverware. He goes, prices doubled. How about this one? Walmart. Walmart so desperate to keep their warehouse workers. This must be a terrible job. Because them and Amazon never have, you know, they're always complaining about warehouse workers. Walmart for warehouse. Now, they have, I want to get this right, I think it's 190 warehouses in the country. Yeah, 190 U.S. warehouses. You know, think about an Amazon warehouse, like probably a whole city block, probably more. I don't even know. They're huge. They're offering weekly bonuses. Some locations, they're offering as much as $500 a week. That's $26,000. Offering $500 a week bonuses, but this is how Walmart operates. So right now, Walmart warehouses, this is their busy time, right? Because there's just now, right now, probably Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas, right? So you got, you know, it's months ahead of time. So this is the busy season in the warehouse. And obviously, you would say, well, why don't you just raise the pay? But Walmart's like, well, you know, the thing is, if we can get through this busy season, then we don't have to. But think about this, $500 a week bonuses. All of that gets added to the cost. And, of course, you're sitting there and we're watching all of this play out. And again, they continue to do nothing. I've said it over and over and over again. We're in this mythical Goldilocks situation right now, where the Federal Reserve has ignored everything, manipulated the data, and is pretending all of this is not going away. It's not going away. And then today, to have the Democrats pass, it was 50 to 49. Now, I don't know which, I keep trying to find, I can't find it. Which Republican didn't vote to force that 51-50 on this $3.5 trillion spending plan? All this is going to do is make everything cost even more. And here's the funny thing. I read comments from Joe Manchin and Christine Sinema. Oh, we have grave concerns about this. Then why did you vote for it? Now, granted, they know, hey, this is going to go to the House. This isn't the final vote. This is just the, hey, we've got enough votes to let the House take it. And they can always vote no later. But again, if you're really that concerned about it, you should have voted no. Just one person votes no on the Democratic side, it doesn't happen. But more spending is coming. We've hit the debt ceiling. Right? The debt right now sits right below $29 trillion. We will break $30 trillion no later than January, possibly before the end of the year. But yet, don't worry. Don't prepare. Pretend inflation doesn't exist. We'll understate it. What could possibly go wrong? Patriot Radio News Hour. Final segment coming up. 800-951-0592. Patriot Radio News Hour. Final segment. News just coming in. Almonds. Get ready for a huge increase. Apparently in California, where something like 80% of all the almonds come from California. They're being forced now to plow under their trees because there's not enough water. Arizona, I've gotten more details. Yuma farmers in Yuma, mostly you get like salad, lettuce, broccoli, things of that nature. They're going to get water first. All the farmers and the ranchers that aren't in Yuma, you're going to have major water restrictions coming next year, and they're already taking action. I know that ranchers are culling herds, farmland's going bare and vacant. It's only going to get worse. How about this? This just breaking the Social Security cost of living adjustments. We could see an adjustment for 2022 of 6.2%. Wow. Man, that is huge. That is a number. We've been nowhere close to that number. You got to go back to the 80s to see cost of living adjustments. To give you a perspective, 2021 was 1.3%. This would be the highest number since 1983, according to Mary Johnson, Social Security analyst for the Senior Citizens League. This is just, again, another thing that was not in the actuary's assessment of when Social Security is going to run out of money. That's another one. Again, though, I've been telling you 2025 for a long, long time. Figure it out. Understand the wolf guarding the hen house. But they've lost control. They've lost vision to it. We want to just give people everything, hand money out, hand over fist. Listen, if the Social Security Administration says cost of living is going to be 6.2%, the Federal Reserve the Fed funds rate should be at least 5. At least, probably should be 6 or 7. It's 0. And by the way, if you believe them, which I do, they have no intentions of making it anything but zero. This thing's only going to get worse. It's just a matter of time. Gold is going to go on a run. Look at what it did in the 70s. And I broke down the 70s a bunch of times. Gold moved in bunches. It'd be flat, lower, lower, then bam! And then it would stagnate and go a little lower, and then bam again. This is how it works as the whole foundation starts to crumble. U.S. $20 Liberties. I can't emphasize enough what a fantastic price at $19.95. Gold's at $17.50 here, up over $20 today. Silver still not doing anything. Silver, it's so funny, right? I'm sitting there telling you, hey, junk silver, I don't know how much longer we're going to have it. Silver's up like 6 cents, right around $23.50. And Wall Street is mixed. The Dow, of course, is higher today because, apparently they love inflation. The Nasdaq's lower. God bless everybody. Get your gold and silver put away. Get your financial house in order. And just sit back and relax as all of this unfolds. We'll be back tomorrow.